Hey everybody, Andrew from Gameosity here, and today we've got ourselves a Kickstarter preview for Herbaceous Sprouts, which is up on Kickstarter right now. It's a dicey game from Steve Finn, Eduardo Baraf, and Beth Sobel's art, and importantly, it's a Kickstarter prototype, so hit that alarm, and let's get started. So, like I said, Herbaceous Sprouts is on Kickstarter right now, and it's the dice version of a game called Herbaceous. We really like Herbaceous. It's a push-your-luck filler game that we get a lot of mileage out of. It's the kind of game that we can kind of take to any game night or family gathering, and probably find both people who are familiar with games and people who aren't, who are going to have a good time with it. It's a beautiful game. The rules are very crisp and straightforward, and we enjoy this one a lot. Now, Herbaceous Sprouts, in sort of an interesting kind of Steve Finn tradition, is a slightly more complicated game. It's the same core concept. You're still planting in a community garden, but there's a little bit more going on, despite the fact that there are dice that power this. Steve Finn did this with Biblios. There's Biblios, and then there's Biblios Dice, and Biblios Dice is the deeper game in many ways. But Herbaceous Sprouts sort of follows the Herbaceous model, except you will be drafting not only cards, but you will also be drafting dice while you're drafting cards. And the dice and the cards that you draft form what your options are with adding to this community garden. So let's take a look at how it works. So, Herbaceous takes place around the garden, where you're going to be planting your sprouts and your flowers. And each round is going to start with a card draft, and there'll be as many cards as players plus one, and each card has space for some dice, or some icons, or a combination of the two, and everybody's going to get a card, and if you take the card with dice on that, those dice are going to be added to your wheelbarrow. Every player has a wheelbarrow card that acts as their storage, and serves as a rule cheat sheet in the meantime. And the basic idea is that this is a set collection, set creation game. Each of these different areas of the garden scores a little bit differently. For example, this area will score if you discard herbs of the same type. This area scores if you discard diversity. This area just wants sets of pears, and this area, and I mean pairs of herbs, not like pears. Look, it's a plant game. It's perfectly possible. But in this area is all about planting flowers, and each of these different sectors of the board are a little bit of a race, because the first person to place a token when they discard herbs when they plant are going to get more points depending on the size of the set. So for example, this area that thrives on diversity, if at the beginning of the round this was my wheelbarrow and I drafted myself this card, I would get these 3 herbs to add to my wheelbarrow. I'd get this card, which will let me exchange this type of herb for a wild if I choose to do that. And then I can take these 5 herbs, throw them back in the bag, and then take one of my player markers and add it to the garden. I discarded 5 herbs, so this marker goes in the 5 herb space. I was the first one in this area, so I'm going to get 8 points. It really is that simple. You're going to go until you work through the deck of possible cards, which varies depending on the number of players. You'll fill up as much of this board as possible. At the end of the game, you'll count up all your points, and if you're lucky and you're the player who gets a token in each sector first, you'll get a nice, refreshing glass of lemonade that's worth a couple of points. And that's Herbaceous Sprouts. So, what do you think?
I like it. It's another great, beautiful way of enjoying, Beth Sobel's art.
Yep.
And I always like the gameplay from Herbaceous, and now we've got dice to add in.
Yeah, I like the addition of the dice. It is a different game as far as feel goes, and I think that it'll hit the table at a different time a different group than Herbaceous. Herbaceous, like I said, kind of at the top, I feel like we can kind of take it anywhere, play it with anyone. Yeah. This is just like one step more complex. but you're still kind of pushing your luck, and you're adding to your wheelbarrow, and you're gathering the tools that'll let you manipulate the dice a little bit or make other actions. Overall, I think this is a really neat kind of dicetization of a game I really like, and I've enjoyed our time with this. I enjoyed it the first time we played it at PAX U, and then getting to play with the prototype has been fun too. I think the production quality during the course of the Kickstarter has gotten really good. The dice are going to look great. They're it's very high quality, and these prototype components don't reflect obviously the final quality, but I think the art is gorgeous because Beth Sobel does, as you say, great work. What I was a little sad about is that there's a little less plant art in this version of the game.
Yeah, that is sort of a bummer, but I do think though the inclusion of the cards that have the little plant facts is pretty neat.
That is neat. Yeah, get a little bit of art, a little bit of science.
And it makes it a much more complete gift for someone who's a gardener who likes games.
That's an excellent point. This is sort of an interesting game in that it has this very decided niche that it can fit into. But we've had a good time with it, and I think that this is a really solid step in the evolution of the Herbaceous base game, and then Sprouts, which is the standalone thing, and I guess next will come the Herbaceous Tactical Miniatures war game, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Area control and mechs.
A lot of the plant mechs, and just a lot of minis, Anyway, I'm Andrew.
I'm Jess.
We're Gameosity. We'll see you next game.
Hi there, thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more, check out our full reviews over here. And if you're crunched for time and want something real quick, check out our Game in the Minutes over here. And if you've ever wondered what it felt like to click a giant G, click it now. You're just going to make me do this forever, aren't you?